Hey, it's John Lee Dumas of EO Fire, and it's The Entrepreneurial You, the show for dedicated and passionate Caribbean entrepreneurs seeking daily inspiration, brought to you by author, speaker, and award-winning entrepreneur Heneka Watkis-Porter. You must be prepared to ignite.
Coming up on this episode of The Entrepreneurial You.
Commitment is doing the thing you said you would do long after the feeling that you've said it in has left you.
Welcome back to The Entrepreneurial You. I'm your host, Heneka Watkis-Porter, a dynamic, transformational speaker and leader with over 15 years of experience in entrepreneurship and business development is today's guest. She has a unique ability to go into an organization and increase productivity through goal setting, as well as through her excellent money and financial management skills. This has made her highly sought after in corporate America. So without further ado, I'm talking about LaToya Fonville. She is the CEO of LaToya Fonville International. Welcome, LaToya, to the Entrepreneurial You.
Thank you so much, Heneka. I'm so excited to be a part of the Entrepreneurial You. I think it's an amazing movement that you have going on.
Thank you so much. Before we get into the heart of the matter, I have a fun question for you. If you could be in the movie of your choice, what movie would you choose and what character would you play?
The Pursuit of Happiness.
Which character would you want to play in that movie?
Will Smith.
I am sure, right? Who wouldn't want to play Will? Awesome. Why would you want to play Will, though?
It's a realistic depiction of the struggles, the hardship, the disappointments that you go through as an entrepreneur. Will Smith, perfect in that movie. He just depicts the drive that you need in order to be successful. You have to be relentless. You have to be diligent. You have to persevere. You have to endure. You have to overcome. You got to overtake. There's some giants that you have to face when trying to pursue destiny, because God has a plan for each and every one of our lives. But the enemy also has a plan, and his plan is to steal, kill, and to destroy our destinies. And when you want to pursue happiness, when you want to pursue that thing which you've been created to do, you're going to have to face a lot of giants. You're going to have to go through some setbacks, some hardships. So I think Will Smith in The Pursuit of Happiness would be the perfect person to describe me.
So you are an expert in financial and money management as well as goal setting. We're going to be talking about first goal setting. Tell us why we even need to set goals to begin with.
Well, the Bible says, write the vision and make it plain. And, you're going to find me going back to the Bible a lot because I kind of titled myself as a kingdom entrepreneur. And a lot of the foundations and the principles that I use and how I've established my business has been on the word. So you're going to find me a lot in this call going back to the Bible. In Habakkuk, it says to write the vision and make it plain. If I'm going to go, I live in the United States. If I'm going to go from New York State to California, which is on two opposite ends, I have to have a goal. I have to have a roadmap. I have to have directions. And when you set a goal, you have to begin with the end in mind. And so if I'm going to go from New York to California, I know my end destination is California, but along the way, I'm going to need some steps to take me to that destination. So it's so essential to set goals because, one, we know where we're going, but if you don't set goals, it's the little steps along the way that will take you to your end result. Okay, so if you're going from the Negril to Moran Point and you never did that journey before, because when you set goals is because you're threading in unfamiliar territory, and so you need to know where I'm going. You need to know that, on my destination, there's going to be some detours. But I know that although I have some roadblocks, I have some detours, I have some setbacks, there are going to be accidents along the way. I have a GPS to tell me what my next step is. So if you're living life without goals, if there's a saying, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Goal setting is everything for me. And not only do I goal set in business, I'm goal setting for my family life, for my health, for my career, for my attitude, for my relationships, for my ministry. I goal set in every area of my life.
What areas of our lives do we need to set goals for?
Every area of your life. Before I got married to my husband, right? We literally sat down and we went through a roadmap that this is the vision that I see for our household. And he had, of course, his vision, and we came together and we set goals on this is what we expect to achieve at this time in our marriage. 20 years from now, this is our expectation. You have to set goals if you want to be successful in every area of your life. Every area that in your life where you don't set goals, or you don't have a vision statement for that, expect confusion, expect hardship, expect frustration.
You mentioned vision statements. How important is that in the goal setting process to have a vision? Like you said earlier, write the vision, make it plain. But how important is that as a first step in the goal setting process? And what does the process involves really?
The Bible says without a vision, people perish. And really we die, and part of what I do is I help people who feel stuck on their jobs, people who are aspiring entrepreneurs and visionaries, people who have a vision to go from stuck to unstuck. And unfortunately, 97% of society, they have these dreams, but they don't have a vision statement. They don't see how it can come to pass. And so they prostitute their talents, as I like to say, on a job that doesn't fulfill them. And so if you don't have a vision, you're going to die. And I'm not talking about a physical death. Hopelessness is death. When you're living life just to pay the bills, to run that cycle, I get up to go to work, to come home, to watch TV, to go to sleep, to get up, to go to work again. And it's a cycle. And you're not fulfilling purpose. God created each and every single one of us with a unique assignment, a unique calling. And if you're not fulfilling that, if you don't fulfill your purpose or your vision, you die. And that's why it's so essential. It's so important.
For optimum results, how do we set goals, really?
All right. I like to go with the SMART system. It's specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-based. And first off, when you set a goal, you have to be specific. So let's go with, say, for example, I'm setting goals for my finances. All right. As a coach, helping people who says, you know what, I want to start a business, but on my job, I only make this amount of money, and I can't do it. It's not possible. It is possible. All things are possible to those who believe. So if you're setting financial goals, you want to be specific. So you want to say, you know what, a goal to set that's realistic, that's measurable is, okay, I want to replace my monthly income and I want to bring in $600 a month. All right. So that's a measurable goal, and it's an attainable goal, because if I went from making $600 a month to go to and say, you know what, I really want to make $10,000 a month, you've set yourself above your belief level, and you're setting yourself up for failure. Exactly. And so I'm going with the low numbers because I want everyone on the call to be able to understand, but it's the same for on a higher level. If you make $100,000 a year and you say, you know what, I want to upgrade to $20,000 a month now, that's realistic for your income level, so you want to say, all right, I'm currently at this level. I want to stretch myself a little bit more, and I want to replace my monthly income. So that's measurable. All right. And it's attainable. I want to do it within a specific time frame. All right. I'm going to give myself 6 months. And how am I going to, there's baby steps along the way. So in order to go from, and I'll go back to the basic, to go from $10 an hour to replace your income at $600 a month, then I'm going to say, you know what? I eat out. I'm going to cut that out. Or I spend $100 and something a month on cable. I'm going to cut that out. In order to achieve your goals, you have to be willing to sacrifice some things, because when you set goals, it's sometimes you have to force yourself to do things that otherwise what you wouldn't do. You have to break habits. And I like to kind of break it down to a 3-step system. This is my goals. Okay. My goal is to make X amount of dollars, or my goal is to lose X amount of pounds. All right. What's my motivation behind it? Because you have to have a why, and your why is the driving force that keeps you going, keeps you motivated, even when you feel like quitting. All right. So your why could be, you know what? I need to increase my income because I want to send my children on a vacation. I need to increase my income because I want to take my children out of public schools and put them in a private school system. That's my why. I want to increase my income because whatever that reason may be for you, I want to lose this weight because the doctor said that if I don't, I can get diabetes. I want to lose this weight so I can be a great example for my children. I want to lose this weight because to avoid health concerns. Your why has to be greater than you. It has to be that thing that gets you up at night. That is that driving force that keeps you going when you feel like quitting. Because I'm going to tell you, just like the pursuit of happiness, when you are pursuing destiny, when you set goals, they're going to be, as I call it, giants along the way. They're going to be mountains that you're going to have to climb. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be difficult, but your why, your motivation is going to be that thing that keeps you pressing forward, even when your flesh, even when you feel like quitting.
So your why is what all of us should drive us to whatever it is that we do, whatever it is that we're called to, whatever our purpose is that God has given us. Our why needs to be that central focal point, so that in those moments when we feel like quitting, when we feel like giving up, we can always look back, ask ourselves, why am I doing this? And so in answering that question, we keep motivating ourselves over and again.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you were also alluding to commitment a while ago before I jumped in. So continue along that vein.
Yeah. And so what I was saying was commitment is doing the thing you said you would do long after the feeling that you've set it in has left you.
Say that again, please.
Commitment is doing the thing you said you would do long after the feeling that you've set it in has left you.
Wow.
And so we have, yes, and so here's the thing. And whether you are a successful CEO to an average individual thriving to be successful, everyone deals with that one thing, commitment. And what distinguishes the successful person from the unsuccessful person is their commitment level. Because many a times we get so frustrated on the journey, that feeling comes in, and it comes in to everyone. It's not just the successful people don't experience it. Yes, they experience it too, but their why, their motivation keeps them going. And then the third thing is you got to have an action plan. You have to have a plan of action on how you're going to execute this thing. And I like to equate the action plan to your driving directions. That GPS, now it's a GPS, but back in the day, we would go on to, in the States, we have this site program called MapQuest. You go on to MapQuest and you would print out your directions. You would put your beginning destination and your ending destination, and it will give you step-by-step directions on what you need to do to get there. Now we have GPSs, and say on your journey, There's a detour because there is construction happening on the road. Just like life, on the road of life, there's going to be construction in the way. It could be a family member that passed away. It could be a child going through a health issue. It could be a bad report. It could be an unexpected job loss. These are obstacles that come in our way to hinder us from getting to our destination. But if your why is in place, and if you have a roadmap, if you have an action plan, you will be a force to reckon with, and you will make it to that expected end. But you have to be determined. You have to be diligent. The Bible says a man who is diligent in his business will stand before kings. He will not stand before mean men. MEAN, meaning average. If you want to stand before kings, if you want to be great, if you want to be successful, you have to master diligence. And mastering diligence, yes, you gotta crucify the flesh. There's days when you're not going to want to get up and go into that business. And Heneka, and I know at one point you owned a brick and mortar, Patois Prowl was in a business. Right. Tell me something. Were there days that you were sick?
Oh, yeah.
And you didn't feel like going to work, but you still went to work?
Oh, yes. I had to keep
where
going.
There were days, exactly. Just like that bodybuilder in the gym, or just like that thin person. I'm pretty fit. And so I remember in college, people saying, Toya, why are you going to the gym? You're already small. I have to go to the gym to stay small. It's a commitment. You understand? So that's why goal setting is everything.
Okay, so we move on now to financial management, money and financial management. No, nobody wants to discuss money management. I mean, it's one of the number one thing for breakup in relationships and so on. Talk to us about what are some of the considerations that we need to bear in mind when we are talking about our money, whether it be in our businesses or our very own personal lives.
The Bible says money answereth all things. On the earth, in order to maneuver, in order to get things done, in order to make things happen, you need money. And unfortunately, our educational system does not teach us how to handle or how to manage money. And but it's so essential that we know how to effectively handle and manage it in order to successfully maneuver through life and live comfortably. And so one of the main things is saving. And I live off of the principle: you pay God, then you pay yourself, and then you save a portion. So 30% of my income off the top is taken off. 10% that goes back to the Lord. Another 10% that goes to me in one of my bank accounts, and another 10% that goes into a savings untouchable account. So I have two accounts that I really don't touch. One that the second 10% I put aside for investments, and the third 10% I put aside for emergencies. Whether you're making, and I go back to the $10 an hour, because you have to start somewhere in order to get to the millions. Even at a low level, if you're saying, well, I'm not making enough money to pay all my bills, if you don't discipline yourselves to the habit of putting aside that 30% off the top, you'll never get to the million.
I just completed reading The Richest Man in Babylon. Similar principles for those who may be saying, yes, I have attempted, to be prudent with my money. I have made several steps, and every time I try, I seem to be failing. What happens, LaToya, when we, for some reason or another, deviate from that goal that we would have set in terms of handling and having proper money management?
Whenever you set a goal and you deviate from it, a feeling of failure comes in, feelings of inadequacy, and then from there it's more like, I can't do this, forget about it. But the Bible says a wise man, a righteous man falls down, but he gets back up again. Here's the thing. You're going to mess up. You're going to make mistakes. Things are going to happen that's going to cause you to deviate from the plan. It's okay. Don't make a habit of it. If you deviate from the plan, get back up, go back to your goals and say, is this realistic for me? Is this attainable for me? And if you agree that you can handle this, then go right back to the goals that you set for yourself. Forgive yourself for that mess up and just go back to it and do it and start over. That's the problem. Most people, they set the goals, they fall short, and then they feel that feeling of I'm not capable comes in, and then you don't do anything.
And so that's why I think it's important, as you alluded to earlier, that we take small steps. You don't take those or make those big goals, set those big goals, and then 2 weeks down the line, for one reason or another, you fall off and you become so discouraged that you don't want to get up, brush off, and go again. So it is important that whatever goal we're setting is that they be SMART goals, that they be specific, that they be measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound.
Many people say, oh, someday I'll lose the weight. Or one day I'll. Show me one day I'll, or show me someday on the calendar. Because if your goals is someday or one day, you'll never get there. And so it's so essential to put a time frame on your goal. So if you say, you know what, I want to save up $600. You map out that goal and you put a realistic time frame that's doable for you. Okay? You got to put a time on it. And sometimes God will cause us to set supernatural, some goals that will stretch us out of our comfort zone. One of the goals that I had set for myself was, that by the end of 2017, that I would financially be in a position to make $100,000 a year from my businesses. All right. Now it's realistic because my husband and I own 3 businesses, each bringing in sizable amounts of money. And so to save $100,000 at the end of at the end of this year is a realistic goal because we're almost at that point, and so we put a time frame because we know that our action plan has to position us that by December 24th, 2017, that amount, that the specific amount is $118,476.16 will be the amount that we will make by December 24th, 2017. And we have goals in each of our businesses to help that come to pass.
LaToya, before our pre-interview chat, you had mentioned about a giveaway that you have for our community here, or peak performers. I'm going to ask you to share that.
All right. And actually, it's perfect timing because what I'd like to offer you is my 5 Keys to Wealth Creation series. And one of them, I go into detail about vision, about having a plan, and I kind of go into detail and I touch on all the things that you need in order to create wealth in your life. Because it's so important that, and I always go back to the basic, because I always go back to the beginning, because you have to start to get to that place. And so whether you are just, at minimum wage or whether you are successful, you want to be wealthy in every area of your life, not just financially. And so what I'm giving to you is the 5 Keys to Wealth Creation series, which I've given you some tools to jumpstart your life and to activate you to be in a position to create wealth in every area of your life. And the way you can access that is you can go to my website, which is www.LaToyaFonville.com. And my name is spelled LATOYA. And last name is F as in Frank, O, N as in Nancy, V as in Victory, ILLE.com.
And share with us your social media pages as well.
You can reach me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at LaToya Fonville, INTL.
LaToya, it has been a pleasure talking with you, having you share on this program with us, the Entrepreneurial You. Our community, I'm sure, was inspired and would have learned applicable tools that they can apply to their situation, their lives, whether or not they're in businesses, whether or not, they are preparing to become entrepreneurs, whatever it is that they're doing right now, would have added some benefit to them. So I want to say thanks to you for that.
Heneka, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure working with you. You are so amazing, everything that you're doing. And I know that this community is blessed just because of all that you're doing.
If you've enjoyed this free podcast, please show your love and support by heading over to HenekaWatkis-Porter.com and click in the subscribe in iTunes button. Leave your rating and review, and hopefully you will leave us a 5-star rating. We would really love that. Thank you to our peak performers for tuning in. Until next time, I'm Heneka Watkis-Porter. Remember, you were born to win, but to be a winner, you must plan to win, prepare to win, and expect to win. Walk good.